Hi everyone, it's Maria. Welcome to my channel and Happy New Year. I am the author of the young adult fantasy novel The Crystal Conjurer, and this is my author channel. This year, I really hope to start posting more regularly, so if you like videos about writing, reading, and just storytelling in general, and stories in general, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and come join me. So as you can see, I'm in a very empty place right now. There's like a lot of echo. So I put these little pieces of foam here to see if it will make a difference, but I don't think it's making that much of a difference. I will have to stick them to the wall, which is what I'm gonna do, but for now, like, this setup will have to do. I'm also using a microphone to see if that will help reduce a little bit of the echo in this empty space. This is my office and studio, and it's still pretty empty because I'm just, setting it up. So let's get to today's topic. For today's topic, it being the new year, I want to talk about my Goodreads reading challenge and my reading goals for this new year. Every single year I join the Goodreads reading challenge, and lately I always end up failing my challenge, even though I set out to read 12 books or 15 books, which I think are very reasonable goals, but I just keep failing it. And I think the reason I keep failing is because I keep choosing books that are in a genre that I no longer want to read. Another mistake that I keep making is that I always try to finish books even though I'm actually not enjoying them. So for this year, my number one rule, which I'm going to stick to no matter what, is that if I am not enjoying a book, I am just going to stop reading it and move on to the next one. Because wasting all that energy trying to get through a book that I'm really not enjoying, that I'm not motivated to pick up even to read, it's that's just gonna make me fail my challenge once again. So that will be my number one rule for this year's Goodreads reading challenge. And this is how my challenge will go. I'm going to read 14 books, and 12 out of those 14 books will be books from my super dusty old TBR, to be read pile, and 2 of those will be books that I have read before. And I'm just gonna show you the books right now. For January, I'm already reading The Hobbit, which I started reading last month and I didn't finish, so that's why I'm gonna finish reading it. I'm on page 133. That's about halfway done, so I'm going to finish this one in the 3 weeks that we have left of January. Wish me luck, because lately I'm just super slow at reading for some reason. And I'm also reading in January Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. I'm actually really enjoying this one because this book is super colorful. I'm gonna show you pictures of it later, because I can't zoom in with this camera. It's a very cheap camera, if you can tell. But as you can see, it has a lot of colorful images on the inside. Let me see if I can find one. Like so. And it's just super easy to read. It's been super easy to read as well. The writing is really, really simple. The font is pretty big. So it's a great book to read, to start on the reading challenge, actually. For someone like me who has been really demotivated to read. The next books, the books that I'm gonna read in the following months, I haven't decided, I haven't chosen a specific month for each of them, because I'm not gonna force myself, but I did choose which books I'm gonna read, because that way I don't have the excuse that I don't know what to read next, because I already have a pile of books chosen that I am going to get to this year. And if I don't like one of those, I'm just gonna go to my bookshelf and pick up another book, because there's a lot of books in there that I haven't gotten to yet. So yeah. Another book that I'm gonna be reading this year is gonna be Circus Mirandus by Casey Beasley. I have a feeling this is gonna be a tearjerker, so I don't know when I'm gonna get to this one, but yeah, I'm really interested in reading this. It looks like it's really like magical realism. And I don't think I actually like read a book like this. I think this gives me the vibe of that movie, like The Big Fish, was it? I don't remember. I think Ewan McGregor was in it, I'm not sure. But like, I don't think I've read a book like that before, and that's something I'm gonna be doing this year. I'm gonna read like a variety of genres so that I can really explore where my reading interests currently lie, because I think they have changed and I need to explore where they're actually leaning towards right now so that I can get like more motivated to read, because as a writer I really need to read, and I genuinely enjoy reading, but I don't know what's happened these past few years that I just kind of falling out of love with it. I am not motivated. I'm reading like between 8 or 10 books a year, which is like so little. And really, I need to get myself reading more, which is why I'm doing this challenge, and I'm gonna win this challenge. If I don't win, it's okay, but anyway, moving on. I'm also going to read Little Beach Street Bakery. I think this is women's fiction, or maybe it's a romance, I don't know, but it feels like it's women's fiction, and I think the cover is really pretty with the cupcake there and the colors, the pastel colors, so it gives me a good vibe. I actually started reading this a couple of years ago while I was hospitalized, and I didn't continue reading it at home, so I have to get back to this. Hospitalized for Crohn's disease, by the way. The next book from the TBR that I plan to read this year is El laberinto de la rosa by Tatiana Hardy, and this is translated to Spanish as the original title is The Rose Labyrinth. I got this a few years ago and I haven't read it. I think I got it for my birthday actually. So I'm gonna be reading. I actually want to read more in my native language this year as well. So I'm reading a couple of books in Spanish. By the way, if you're interested in language learning, I actually have a separate channel. It's called Polyglot Girl, in which I talk about languages, and I invite you to check that out if you want. Next book is also in Spanish. Is La Casa de los Espíritus by Isabel Allende. I think in English this would be just The House of the Spirits. And this is definitely like paranormal, but like it's literary fiction, but it has like paranormal feeling to it. It has like magical realism, so it's kind of different to the stuff that I'm usually used to reading lately. Next book is the sequel to Miss Peregrine's Home. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is Hollow City. You know, I had totally forgotten that I got this book, and when I was cleaning my bookshelf and looking for the books that I was gonna read this year, I found it, and I was kind of like shocked to see that I actually had it, because I've been meaning to reread Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children since 2017 that I read it the first time, and I wanted to read it when I had the sequel, and I thought I didn't have the sequel, but turns out I did. So all this time I could have like read it. I actually think I got this book, maybe I got this book last year and I just don't remember. No, not last year, 2019. 2018, I just don't remember when I got it. My next book is a reread actually. It's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which, as I said, I've been meaning to reread it for the longest time. Next we have my other reread, which is State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. This book, I actually really loved it when I first read it in 2015, and I just haven't gotten back to it yet, but I remember that I didn't quite like the ending, but this book like feels like magic. This is literary fiction, obviously, and it has that science undertones, and I enjoy science, so this was kind of like an instant favorite. I think I have it in my favorite shelf, I'm not sure. So the next book in my list, I actually do have a month in which I want to get to it, and that's because it's a ghost story. Is Mary Rose by Jeffrey Girard. actually got this in Florida when I was visiting in 2017. I got it at Barnes & Noble. And yeah, I meant to read it like that Halloween and I didn't do it. So I'm gonna read it this year's October. So let's see if I get to it. It's a ghost story. I think I've only ever read one horror book and it wasn't like scary to me. Maybe that one will be more interesting. So let's see. Lastly, I have a non-fiction book. This is Consciousness Beyond Life, The Science of Near-Death Experience by Ping Van Lommel, MD, Dr. Ping Van Lommel. He's a cardiologist. I have seen on YouTube his conference about this book and about this topic, and I thought it was extremely interesting. So when he said that he had a book about it, I went to get it. I've actually had this book for about a year or two, I think. It looks pretty new. In my house there's like a lot of humidity, so I know when a book has been in my bookshelf for a while because it gets all these little spots, of humidity. So obviously this one is pretty new because it doesn't have those. So I probably only had it for a year or two, or definitely less than 2 years. I'm really interested in the topic of NDEs. I think it's extremely interesting, like consciousness, the study of consciousness, all of that is really interesting to me. So hopefully I'll get to this book this year as well. This is my only non-fiction title in the list. Apart from those, I'm also gonna read the rest of the Lord of the Rings series, hopefully. And I say hopefully because the font in those books is so tiny. Like I have the pocket edition, like the one I showed you earlier, The Hobbit. That was a collection that I got and it's a pocket edition, and I feel like the font is just so tiny. So if I can't really get through them quickly, I'm just gonna move on to a different book. But I hope to read the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King, because I've never read them, and since I'm reading The Hobbit right now, it just makes sense that I have to read them this year as well. I actually love the movies. I don't know how the books will be. So far, I'm enjoying The Hobbit, but the font is just so tiny in these editions. So let's see how that goes. If not, I'm just gonna move on to a different book and take my time with the Lord of the Rings series. So those are the 14 books that I hope to read this year for my reading challenge. And lastly, I just want to say that having a reading challenge really is all about getting myself to read more and getting excited about reading again. So if I can't get through the 14 books that I chose, as long as I actually do finish more books this year, it shouldn't matter if I win or not, right? I'm not gonna beat myself up if I can't accomplish my challenge. Hopefully I will win this year, but I'm not gonna beat myself up if I don't. And really you shouldn't either if you fail yours, because as long as we're reading, that's all that should matter. Also, I plan to read some manga, which I didn't include here. Last year I did read some manga. I read Mao by Rumiko Takahashi, and I read the first volume. I already got the volumes I got up to volume 5. And I also got a couple of volumes of Black Clover by Yuki Tabata, which hopefully I will get to this year as well. I didn't include them in my list, even though that, of course, if I do finish reading manga volumes, I'm going to include them as part of my reading challenge. But I didn't include them in this list because manga are pretty short and easy to get through, and mostly I use them to study Japanese. Even though obviously I do enjoy them, I'm really happy I decided to try that as part of my Japanese studies because I'm really enjoying it. But I didn't include them in this list per se, because I wanted to include books that have been sitting in my TBR for forever, like for ages. And obviously, like, I want to start having more of a minimal type of lifestyle. Of course, not like this empty like this empty studio that I'm in right now that has a lot of ego. But I want to like reduce the amount of books that I own, because I do, of course, like everyone says, you can never have enough books, but when you have limited space like I do in my house, in my bookshelf is also pretty small, like, I think I should just keep the books that I like and that I am likely to read again, instead of sorry about that, my camera just suddenly stopped recording for some reason, so I had to go check on it. But as I was saying, like, instead of keeping a bunch of books that I don't enjoy, like taking up space in my room, my limited bookshelf space, and like my limited bedroom space, I should only keep the books that I genuinely enjoy and that I'm likely to read again. So I know having like a lot of books is like the goal of every book lover, but honestly, like, it's inconvenient space-wise. Like, honestly, like, sometimes it's just inconvenient, at least for me it is, to keep so many books if I'm not gonna like be using them, and like I could use the space that those books are taking off for something else. So hopefully, like, when I get through my TBR, if there are books that I don't enjoy, I'm just going to donate them or like sell them or something, so that I can make space for books that I actually do enjoy. So this is it for this video. I really hope you liked it and that you enjoyed spending this time with me. And if you did, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, and I will be posting weekly videos this year, so I hope to see you next week.